How many of you visited the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C.? Did you know it is the largest museum, education, and research complex in the world? According to the Smithsonian's website, it boasts 21 diverse museums, the National Zoo, along with 9 research and development facilities. The institution is governed by a board of regents, including the Vice President of the United States and Chief Justice of the United States, who also serves as Chancellor. Each of the 21 museums has its own director and staff with a total employee count of over 6,000 and more than 5,000 volunteers. One of the most amazing things is that it offers admission to all of its museums for free. Today I will tell you about the history of the Smithsonian and how it has developed into the modern pinnacle of research and education. British scientist James Smithson left his estate to the U.S., requesting in his will to found at Washington under the name of the Smithsonian Institution an establishment for the increase and diffusion of knowledge among men. James K. Polk signed an act of Congress to begin the building. The first building, erected between 1847 and 1855, is what is commonly known as the Castle. It is where you will find the Visitor Center, administrative offices, and the James Smithson Crypt. Robert Watson, in his article in the Sun Centennial for March 25, 2012, tells the story of how the Smithsonian was initially rejected. Smithson's estate, worth roughly $500,000 then, equals approximately $18 million today. Conservatives and champions of states' rights argued the government had no right to establish a national institution, conduct scientific research, or promote knowledge. Federalists fought against this, refuting that it was in the nation's best interest to build the institute, and they won. First, let us look at some of the treasures inside the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian Institution website states that it owns 156 million items. The most extensive single collection is the Natural History's Invertebrate Zoology collection with 50 million specimens. Though it owns many items, not all are on display, but are kept in the institution's private collection. Some items are purchased while others are donated by private collectors or federal agencies. Other interesting and famous items include Dorothy's ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz, the Star-Spangled Banner, the Wright brothers' Kitty Hawk Flyer, the Apollo Lunar Landing Module, and those are just a few. Now that we've discussed the artifacts housed in the Smithsonian, let's move on to how it has aided in research and discovery. ScienceAndDiplomacy.org quoted Joseph Henry, the first secretary of the Smithsonian, who declared, "The worth and importance of the institution is not to be estimated by what it accumulates within the walls of its building, but by what it sends forth to the world." The Smithsonian currently engages in international science roles, serving on delegations and interagency processes for the U.S. position on biodiversity, cultural heritage, and climate change in organizations such as the United Nations. One of the early roles the Smithsonian researchers had was in leading the development and construction of the Panama Canal in the early 1900s. This opened diplomatic relations with Panama and led to the creation of the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institution, which has become a global leader in tropical research. Now that we've talked about two of the important functions in the Smithsonian, let's move on to how it shares knowledge with the world. According to the Smithsonian's website, the institution participates in Smithsonian affiliates, allowing museums to take part in the loaning of artifacts and trading educational resources with other countries. The Smithsonian also participates in traveling exhibitions where art, history, and science exhibits are shared with many different U.S. cities and states, allowing millions to learn. The Smithsonian has a vast reserve of resources online and reaches tons of people with a widely published magazine, a television channel, YouTube, over 30 mobile apps, and several social media pages. It also offers volunteer positions, internships, and study and research programs for students and scientists who would like to participate. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the Smithsonian and the many ways it has contributed to our society and the world. There is no doubt the Institute carries some of the world's most valuable treasures, but it offers so much more. The Smithsonian, which began as a dream for James Smithson, has evolved into an educational platform reaching millions.